The Wanganui Street Race is the first of the classic motorcycle events, along with Paidor, which will screen later in the season. Since 1951, Wanganui has hosted races from around New Zealand and the world as they fly along the streets lined with hay bales and thousands of fans. Every year it gets bigger and better, and Boxing Day 2005 was no exception.
For over 50 years now, the historic river city of Wanganui has come to a virtual standstill on Boxing Day. The reason? Thousands upon thousands of bike fans converge on the bottom of town for the annual cemetery circuit races. For 2005, the scene was the same. The Sanyong-sponsored event had brought a top field of international and local riders. Among them, last year's sensation, Craig Sheriffs.
There's a lot more high level of competition here this year than what we had last year. Like Brian's got some fast Aussie lads here, and Sean's brought over Guy Martin from the UK, and Stroudy's turned up this year as well, and he's never slow anywhere he goes. So plus there's Jared here as well, you know, so he goes good around here too. So I think this year's going to be pretty hard, but we're ready.
Guy, you've had a chance to have a look at the cemetery circuit. What do you think?
Yeah, it's different. It's you know, I race in the stuff in Ireland, and it's a bit more. It's road racing, but it's like roads out in the country. You know, it's not like through a town itself. So it's interesting. I like it. I enjoy it. You know, it's more or less the same sort of stuff as what it is in Ireland. You know, stop and go, and then a bit of bumpy stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Well, it's been a difficult learning curve for Guy Martin. Let's see how he does here. This is race 1 for Formula Wanganui here at the cemetery circuit for 2005, and into the front goes Andrew Stroud. Once again, I'm joined in commentary by Paul Pavletich, a man that has won in every class possible here on the cemetery circuit, so he knows every inch of this 1 mile track.
And boy, do I love this track, Phil. It's just amazing. You've really got to get a great start here because it's so tight and twisty, and you've got to be a champion under brakes, otherwise you're going to get dispatched backwards.
Well, the man that has got a great start is Andrew Stroud as they work their way through the S's and up in towards the Robert Holden corner for the first of 8 times. Pressure coming on from number 69, Jared Love, on the 1000cc Honda, and Craig Sheriffs goes up the inside of Love, and I think he might have moved into second place, or maybe I've spoken a little bit too soon, Paul.
Yeah, he took the high wide line. He really needs to get some good drive on that little 600. He's got to carry a lot more cornering speed around here.
Well, 1 lap down, and it's Andrew Stroud in the front as they work their way into the Repco corner. 69, Jared Love has a look down the inside. Stroud just left the door open there, Pav, and Jared Love was through.
Wow, Stroudy was caught napping then, wasn't it? That looked really easy.
So the front 2 on 1000cc machines. The guys we should be watching for are the blokes further down in the pack with the yellow number plates, especially number 56. That's Craig Sheriffs, and he was the fastest thing on 2 wheels here last year. In fact, they left Wanganui heading for Pyro in the second and final race in the Battle of the Streets, tied with the man that leads this race, and that's Jared Love.
Well, I'm pretty sure a 600's the bike to have around here. They're only averaging 70 mile an hour. It's not fast. These big 1000cc machines, you'd be lucky to get into 3rd gear.
It's interesting you say that, Paul, because I talked to Andrew Stroud after the qualifying, and they had to change the gearing on his K5 Suzuki to make him use 3rd gear. He was going around here, okay, it's only a 1 mile round, but he was going around here in 2nd gear.
If you look closely, you can see some thin black lines. There you go. A lot of that's just wheel spin coming out of the corners. They're so powerful.
So let's catch up with what's happening at the front of this field. 69 Love in the front, then it's 1, the brother Suzuki of Andrew Stroud, then it's the Haldane Suzuki, the 600cc Suzuki of Craig Sheriffs, and that is a stock standard 600 production bike. Last year he came here with a hot rod machine. He brought the bike with him, but he decided he would ride the stocker, and that's what he's doing, and he's doing a fantastic job here, Pav, because he's keeping these guys on the thousands more than honest.
He sure is. He's 70 horsepower down as well. That just shows you.
Craig Sheriffs from Fielding currently sits in 3rd place as they go across the stripe again and down the Ginny and Holmes front straight. Andrew Stroud in the front. First time Andrew's been at Wanganui for 4 years. Normally a family man, likes to spend the time over Christmas with his family. This time he decided he'd come racing.
Haven't these Aussie boys done well? They've really adapted to these street circuits well. I don't know a whole lot of Australian road circuits, but boy, they've come out guns blazing here.
Well, the simple fact is there aren't a whole lot of Australian road circuits for motorbikes. Number C, Scott Charlton. Number S behind him, Chris Seaton. And then it is Jason McEwen. And isn't it fantastic to see Jason McEwen back? He's been doing the rounds of the Sanyong Road Racing Championship. 18 months ago, there was probably real doubt whether he'd ever ride a motorbike again.
I've never seen him looking so fit either. It's just a remarkable recovery. It just shows you the determination of Jason McEwen.
So this race for 4th, 5th and 6th. as we concentrate on it. Down the front straight they come once again. Charlton on a 1000cc machine with the white number plate. The S is Chris Seaton, all part of the Brian Bernard Racing Ssangyong Suzuki team. This is the battle at the front of the field, and it's starting to get a little bit juicy, Paul, because Craig Sheriffs is starting to put on the pressure here. It's still the thousands in the front. Who's going to go over the railway line first? It'll be number 1, Andrew Stroud, up through the Suzuki turn and heading toward the cemetery now.
That's a seriously hard place to pass over those railway lines because it disturbs the front end. You get the big shake on, so you want to make the pass long before those bumps.
Out of the Robert Holden turn they come, heading up Guyton Street and now turning into Ridgeway. It's still Stroud in the front.
Big long legs sticking out. He's 6'2". It's quite a tall guy.
Well, already we're going to see the lap traffic have a little bit of a say in this one. That's moved Tangaroa from Wanganui, trying to find a clean way to get out of the way, and it means that Craig Sheriffs has got up into second place, so maybe a problem there for Jared Love. He drops well back.
You could be having brake problems. This is really difficult on your machine here under brakes. They don't get a time to cool down because it's short spurts between corners.
Well, that's right. It's only 1 mile around, 1.6 kilometres. And things happen very, very quickly indeed. Stroud in the front, Sheriff's right in behind him. Another one that's going to play a part in this one. I think that's Barry Long on the Ducati from Palmerston North. He gets out of the way as the two front runners negotiate the Robert Holden Memorial turn. Now they head up into the Vesra overbridge.
I actually think that Stroud is holding Sheriffs up under the corners. That 600's carrying more cornering speed. Whoa, brush the hay bales.
Well, 1 lap to go, and if Craig Sheriffs is going to do it, it's going to have to be in this lap, as you said, Paul, using all the track and then a little bit more. Brushes the hay bale as they work their way through Repco Corner, now down into Bridgestone and out along the Taupo Quay.
Oh, I just hope these lap riders don't play a part in it.
Kevin Geard's been around for a long time, so he'll do the sensible thing and just drift to the outside of the racetrack and get out of the way of these guys. Andrew Stroud, he hasn't been back here for 4 years. It's great to see the past New Zealand Superbike champion back, but he's got a tiger on his tail in the form of Craig Sheriffs. Sheriffs drifts to the outside. Is he going to set him up for the inside-outside pass? He does so, and as they go through the Kawasaki curve, it's a new race leader in the form of Fielding's Craig Sheriffs is going to hold on to it as they go over the bridge, and he'll see the checkered flag first. Opportune time to make the pass. Nothing Stroud can do about it. Craig Sheriffs wins race number 1 of Formula Wanganui. In second place it was Andrew Stroud, and in third Jared Love. Fourth place went to the Australian Chris Seaton, and in fifth it was Jason McEwen from Sanson. Sixth place another Australian, Scott Charlton.
Made some huge improvements with the bike this year, and it's hooking up too good. It's doing wheelies everywhere, and it feels real strong. So yeah, it's a case of slowing down to get faster at the moment.
The focus this year for you, the streets again or the road racing?
Definitely, I like the streets. It evens it out. We sort of struggle for setup and horsepower sometimes, so the streets evens everything out. It comes down to rider on the day, so give it a big strangle up and you'll win.
Always a crowd pleaser at Wanganui or any of the street circuits are the Super Motards. This one brought to you by Lindsay Tate and Associates, and a big field, and Stephen Briggs is in there, but it's Briggs that's gone down in the first straightaway by the look of it. So some real problems for the man that rules the roost in Super Motard. So no number 8 there at the moment. That means it's 95 Craig Flood that goes out into the front. And if you're watching our coverage from last year, you'll know the story with Craig Flood. He rode a CRF 450 Honda, had the debut ride here at Wanganui, hit the hay bales, knocked himself a bit senseless, and the bike burst into flames and burnt to the ground. This is his XR 650, and he's back.
Yeah, well, that's a shame too, because Stephen Briggs has just fitted a brand new clutch to that bike, so maybe he's put it in incorrectly. I'm not sure, but very unlike him.
So it is number 107, Jonathan Hamlin, through in second place. By the look of it, oh, there's been a change as we speak, because now it's number 32, Brendan Stevenson, on the VOR from Danneberg. Last year, Stevenson on a 600cc KTM, so he's changed bikes.
Sure is. It's great to see more manufacturers getting involved. This is a great class, you know. It's a cheap way to come road racing, and it's a beautiful home for 1 and 2 and 3-year-old motocross bikes.
Well, and it's a well-recognised class. It's, as you said, it is the perfect class in New Zealand, and of course now it runs a fully fledged World Championship, 3 different classes over in Europe. There is some talk about bringing a race meeting to Australia in the not-too-distant future, and then, well, it's only across the Tasman to New Zealand.
It's really taking off too in the country, down country. It's very, very big grids. I just love seeing this. It's something for the future.
It's an exciting form of racing, there's no doubt about that, as we watch Craig Flood and Brendan Stevenson working their way up towards the... Oh, very sideways there for number 32, Brendan Stevenson on the VOR. Plenty of power from the big 4-stroke, and you saw it there.
Yeah, he certainly gassed it up early, didn't he? He's in second gear there. It spun the wheel and nearly flicked him out of the seat.
Look how hard Craig Flood's trying, getting as aerodynamic as possible as they head down into the Repco corner once again. Down through the gearbox goes Stevenson.
It's been great watching Stephen Briggs. He's really taught these how to back them into the corners, hasn't he?
Well, you know, before we get back into racing, I've got an apology to make because it said in my program that he was on a VOR. I'd stake my life on the fact that Brendan Stevenson on a KTM is the man in second place.
Well, one thing for sure, it's going to be a big four-stroke single, Phil.
Absolutely. 107 is Jonathan Hamlin on the Bikes Direct Honda from Wanganui, so the locals will have something to cheer about, and there are thousands upon thousands of people lining the streets here at Wanganui. Probably the biggest crowd we've seen here for 10 years, I'd say, Paul.
Oh, to Sangyong too, I take my hat off to them. They really have gotten behind road racing this year. It's just fantastic.
So that is the style of one of the best Super Motard riders in the country. Battles within battles further down through the field. Watching out there for number 23. That's Paul Brown on the Husaberg.
And Brendan Code too. He's making his way through the field on the KTM. He's flying. There he is, number 5.
Well, Code's an ex-road racer, and that's the perfect mix. A bit of road race, a bit of motocross, and you're the perfect setup to be a Super Motard rider.
He's not a bad motocrosser either. I've seen him out at Ardmore. He's pretty quick.
Number 107, Jonathan Hamlin, one of the locals on the Bikes Direct Honda 450. Well, this battle heats up there. Paul Brown trying to hold out Brendan Code, and look at these battles right in behind them. Just a freight train of these big single-cylinder 4-strokes. They changed the suspension a little bit. They changed the brakes as well.
Code,
it's as close as you like.
He messed that up big time, Phil. He went in there way too deep, and the back end was snaking. He was all over the place.
So this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th on your screen, number 5, and that is Brendan Code.
Whoa, that's a biggie!
And it looks like a Suzuki that's gone down as they come over the Vespa Bridge. Well, it'll be interesting to see. Oh, and the red flags come out, Paul.
Yep, that's a real shame.
So the race is declared, and it means that Craig Flood gets the win from Brendan Stevenson and Jonathan Hamlin through in 3rd place. 4th was Paul Brown, and in 5th it was Toby Summers.
Well, you got to ride around here like you're on 1,000, even though you're on 600. And yeah, I think we'll probably be closer to the superbikes than we are at most other tracks because of that fact. Because you don't even get out 3rd gear on these things. So
yeah, that's what they're saying. That's
it's definitely important to squirt.
All right, who do you rate as your opposition today?
In the 600, Craig Sheriff's going to be the man. Yeah, so he's probably going to be out there in the superbike as well. So he's going to be the boy, I think.
Well, the 600s get underway, and the man to beat's got to be number 56, Craig Sheriff. We saw him dominate in the Formula 1 race at Wanganui on the 600 machine. Now the bikes alongside him are very even. Derek McAdam there as well, Paul. One guy that's missing, though, Sam Smith. What's the story with that?
Well, his miners have taken him out of this event, and they're going to keep him to the road, to the race circuits, and focus on the national championship. And that's probably a wise thing. He's only a young boy. Let him get some miles under his belt in a safer environment first.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Expert comments and opinion coming from Paul Pavletic as we watch this first Formula 2 race, as they call them here on the streets. It's essentially the 600 sports production class, and it's Craig Sheriff's out in the front. Derek McAdam on the Museum Hotel Kawasaki sits in 2nd place, and I think you'll get a glimpse of bike number 30, and that is Troy O'Donoghue from Palmerston North, but we'll check that for you as they come a little bit closer. Over the bridge for the first time and across the stripe, the first of 6, and it is Sheriff's.
Wow, it's great to see another brand up here mixing it with the Suzuki's, because Suzuki's have owned Wanganui for a while. They're just so dominant around here. It's incredible.
Number 12 on your screen there is Nick Cole, another youngster with a big future in front of him on the Kawasaki, and behind him it was Troy O'Donoghue.
Craig's on fire, isn't he? He really just is so smooth and fast. Just watch how beautiful his lines are. It's just great to watch.
Well, as we said at the top of the show, you know, it shouldn't really be a surprise. He was the dominant force here last year, and I know that his mechanic Chris Osborne's been in his ear. They've fiddled the bike and they've played with Craig's mind a little bit, and he smoothed him out, and he really does love it here on the streets. He likes to perform in front of a big crowd, and that's what we've got here.
Well, they're going to be happy with his performance today. He really is flying. McAdam too, in the Museum Kawasaki. That's a very powerful motorbike, and it looks strong.
Number S on your screens is Chris Seaton on the Bernard Racing Sangyong Suzuki. Another one of the Australian contingent that's come over here essentially to take away the New Zealand titles, but they haven't found it all their own way. Seaton was a revelation at the road racing rounds, both at Pukekohe and Manfield, but he's struggling a little bit here. Unknown territory for the Aussies, though, Paul. They don't race on the streets.
That's absolutely right. You know, and I've just been so impressed with these Aussie boys. They've been great ambassadors for Australia. They've been so professional. Brian Bernard's done a brilliant job team managing them.
You know, I said he's struggling a bit. Well, the guy behind him is Andrew Stroud, and he just happens to be the 600 sports production and national champion.
Andrew must have mucked the start up. He's too good to be back in 5th or 6th place. Look at the back end of that bike bouncing around. It's so important to get your suspension set up on this bumpy circuit.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. What about the handling and the setup of the bike? Must be so crucial. So many point and squirt corners here.
Yeah, you really got to focus on getting your brakes dialed in perfectly. You know, it's stop, go, second, third gear corners, and brakes are so important.
Well, I said earlier that Andrew Stroud hadn't been to Wanganui for 4 years. I think with the result that this race has delivered him, he'd probably think, why did I ever come back? He is struggling here in the Formula 2.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be back. He's a hardened campaigner. He's a multinational champion. Never write Andrew Stroud off.
You know, I think as we're talking, they're starting to close up the gaps between themselves and Nick Cole and Troy O'Donoghue.
Boy, the lap times are coming down. They're down to 51 flat. That's very fast.
Well, Paul, I know that you were racing when Richard Scott was the first to go under the 50-second mark. OK, the configuration of the track's changed a little bit since then, but I wonder if we'll see a sub-50-second run here today.
Well, I think so. Craig Sheriff. Oh, Stroudy, what are you doing? That's quite an unusual mistake by Andrew Stroud.
Well, it's cost him big time too, although he's not going to lose a position. He's lost a lot of time on Chris Seaton. These guys further up ahead of them, Nick Cole and Troy O'Donoghue. Great to see Troy O'Donoghue getting a decent ride on the Honda CBR 600.
I really rate Troy O'Donoghue. You know, he showed brilliant promise when he was a young boy and just sort of faded a little bit. Didn't see much off him, but he's back strong now.
Well, Andrew Stroud currently sitting down in 6th position, so that is uncharacteristic for him. This man, though, at the top of the field as he runs toward the checkered flag. Craig Sheriff is going to make it 2 wins from 2 starts here at Wanganui. Over the bridge he comes, in front of the big crowd, the grandstand here at the Cemetery Circuit. Sheriff gets it done for Haldane, Suzuki and Metzler. In 2nd place, it will be Derek McAdam on the Museum Hotels Kawasaki, and in 3rd place, it was Troy O'Donoghue on the Honda. 4th place went to Nick Cole on another Kawasaki, and in 5th place, the first of the Aussies, that was Chris Seaton. Welcome back to the Sanyong Cemetery Circuit for 2005 as the stage is now set for the first of what is one of the most prestigious titles on the streets. That is the Robert Holden Memorial. We do the whole Superbike Grand Prix starts 10 minutes before the race starts. The boys line up in their grids. Off comes the tyre warmers. The flag goes down and we're racing. Normally we'd be racing for 8 laps. This time it is 15. So a different mindset, Paul.
Yeah, you've got to be focused, smooth. Jason McEwen got a cracker of a start. He's riding the Sean Harris sponsored machine.
Well, we're on board here with Jared Love, the camera sitting just on the fairing by the fork leg, and you can see just how fast these machines go as they disappear down Taupo Quay.
Oh, this is intoxicating. I just love that view.
Jason McEwen, we said it in the first Formula 1 race, it's a miracle that the man is back. He had it nearly, certainly nearly a career-ending, some would have said a life-ending crash at Taupo about 18 months ago. He's battled back and he's come back to as good as he's ever been. He was the master at Wanganui. Maybe we're going to see the return here, Paul.
I think so, and I think he's riding a smaller machine. I've got a feeling it's a 750, which would make a lot of sense around here. See all the cement dust? Somebody spilled some oil. You've got to keep away from that. There's oil underneath that cement and it's very slippery.
Well, you were saying that when it rains, it's the slipperiest circuit in New Zealand, I guess. Hot, dry conditions here, but still a lot of traction to be found.
Well, we're getting very close to those hay bales. You do not want to brush those with your handlebar or you're going to bite the dust.
So McEwen in the front, Jared Love through in 2nd place. Always a consistent fast starter. Probably gets that from his motocross background. Very aggressive. Stroud's made amends for what happened on the 600 because he's up into 3rd place now as we go back on board here. Wow, what a pass!
No, he didn't. He tried to go up the inside and he got the gate slammed in his face.
Jason McEwen, look how far he hangs off the bike as they work their way up into the Kawasaki curve. It's McEwen in the front, then it's the Honda of Love, then it's the #1 brother Suzuki of Andrew Stroud, and right on the back of them is number 56. And don't you dare discount Craig Sheriff. He may be on a 600. He's already lowered the track record. What are we going to see here?
Oh, the Honda, he's done something wrong. He must have trouble with his brakes because that was way too easy. He's gone from 1st to 4th in 2 corners.
He's let 3 of them slip through, and that's not like Jared Love at all. He's trying to make amends for it now, using the extra power of the 1,000 as they work their way across the railway line and head up towards the Robert Holden Memorial. But look at the gap that's grown between 1st and 2nd.
If he's got brake troubles, he's got to stay focused and have a clear head and not get the red haze on because he'll end up in trouble on that bike round here.
56, he's the danger man for my way of thinking, Paul, and that is Craig Sheriff starting to work on this bunch now as you get the onboard shots as they work up towards the Vespa Bridge. This is Jared Love's view of it. Ahead of him, it's Andrew Stroud, and in the front, it's still Jason McEwen, number J on the Rico Suzuki.
Well, the Honda boys have got to be reasonably happy. This is one of their best results so far. He's up the front at the sharp end.
Out on the Taupo Key, they will come as they negotiate this right-hander. Andrew Stroud gets a little bit closer now. This is easily the fastest part of the circuit. Paul, how fast?
Oh, you'd probably be doing 90 mile an hour up that straight, maybe 100 mile an hour.
Across the railway lines they go. McEwen, the Rico Moto Dynamics Suzuki, then it's Andrew Stroud, Pirelli Shod, brother Suzuki. Right in behind him, it's number 69 on Michelin tyres, and that is the Blue Wing Honda. And a problem there from Andrew Stroud once again.
Uncharacteristic. Andrew Stroud's making a lot of bobbles today, and, you know, it's just unusual. The guy's that good. It just doesn't make those sort of simple errors.
Well, maybe the head's not there, or maybe, Paul, the pressure's on, because we saw that in the first round of the road racing. I mean, the racing's been as fierce as we've ever seen it, and there's certainly no let-up here.
Well, the pressure's certainly on, and I think you made a valid point before. Craig Sheriff, I believe he's getting held up. His cornering speed is much faster than these big bikes.
And I guess, and you'd know this more than me, the lines will be slightly different for the 1000s as opposed to the 600s. I guess he'd want to carry the speed on the 600.
Well, those big bikes, you know, they're in second gear, first and second gear, and honestly, you gas those things up and they're snaking, they're spinning the back wheel, and you can see the black lines coming through the corners.
Back on board here with Jared Love just up ahead of him. It is Jason McEwen.
Certainly want to avoid those manhole covers too, because they're really slippery.
Oh, there goes Sheriff down the inside as they work through the Kawasaki curve, heading for the bridge now, and Craig Sheriff has got his way into third place. Now we'll be able to see if your theory's correct, Paul. Is he being held up because he's already put a bit of distance between himself and Jared Love?
Well, Jared will be wanting to whip that big, powerful Honda up down the straight, but I don't think he's going to get there. No, he hasn't done it.
Andrew Stroud out on the front. This is the battle for second, third and fourth. It's Jason McEwen from Sansom. Then it is 56, Craig Sheriff from Fielding. Then it's 69, Jared Love. And then it's the Australian Chris Seaton starting to come to play in this party as well.
And for our folks at home too, the way to tell, the yellow boards are on the 600s and the white boards where the letters or numbers are the big 1000cc grunters.
Back on board here with Jared Love, now back in fourth place. So it looks to me like Craig Sheriff has got past Jason McEwen as well, so Sheriff's now maybe up into second. We'll confirm that for you. There it is, number one, Andrew Stroud in the front.
That's a symphony. Listen to that 12, 13,000 revs. They're really screaming.
Oh, how close does Sheriff want to come to the hay bales down the front straight? How hard is he trying on this little 600? Andrew Stroud just shuts the door as they work through the Repco turn. Now head down into Bridgestone. Hard on the brakes, number 56, looking for a way down the inside. They get very close indeed. And down Taupo Key. Well, I guess he has to... he pays the price a little bit under the horsepower, and he comes straight back through Suzuki.
That's serious precision, because I'm talking like another 30, 40 millimetres, and he's going to get hooked up in that bale, and that will be tragic.
Watch number 56, the Haldane Suzuki of Craig Sheriff's. It's the master, though, out on the front. I spoke too soon. He dives down the inside through Kawasaki, and he makes the pass look easy.
Yeah, that cornering speed on that little bike is superior.
Heading up over the Vespa Brakes Bridge once again. 56, Craig Sheriff's. He's been in this position before. He's here again at Wanganui. Andrew Stroud comes back at him and takes the spot back.
That's the power, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Up the inside, there you go. Pushed him out of the way.
Sheriff's has got track position as they work through Bridgestone Corner, out onto Taupo Key once again. Now, can Stroud come back? Remember, Stroud number one on the 1000cc machine, but the fastest man on two wheels here at Wanganui holds him out, and I think he'll do it right down to the flag now, Paul.
He certainly will. That was very brave. Andrew was too smart. He wasn't going to have a go up the inside over those railway lines. They're too bumpy.
And look what's happened here. While these two are dicing for the lead, Jason McEwen's got back on to the lead bunch.
Yeah, never give up, eh? He's just a fighter right through and through.
56, Craig Sheriff's from Fielding on the Haldane Suzuki. Right in behind him, it's another Suzuki in the form of Andrew Stroud, and that's the way they're going to finish in heat number one of the Robert Holden Memorial. Craig Sheriff gets the win on the Suzuki GSXR 600. In second place, it's Andrew Stroud. Then it was Jason McEwen. Then it was Chris Seaton. And in fifth place, Jared Love. Well, you've had a fantastic day, and you keep slicing seconds off that track record.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Actually, I'm not sure what's going on. Having Stroudy in front of me just tows me along, you know, so I've got to ride pretty hard to keep up with him. You've
come to grips a bit more with the superbike round here now?
Yes, yeah, I'm still working at ways to keep the front wheel on the ground. I made it as long as possible now, so the back wheel's right back, which, you know, start losing a little bit of traction, but at least I can wind it on a bit more down the straight.
Well, another crowd pleaser here at the Sanyong Cemetery Circuit are the Sidecar boys, and we've got the Australian-New Zealand Challenge. And I can tell you there's already been bad news for Australia because Doug Shivers hasn't been able to make the line. So that means all the Australian hopes will rest in the form of number S, and that is Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod. And a bit of a coming together in the first turn. It's hard enough on two wheels, Paul. It must be super hard when these rigs are as wide as they are.
Absolutely. It looks like downtown Auckland on a Friday night. Well, I'm impressed too, Phil. Look at the crowd. It's just huge. They're about 15 deep in places.
Well, as we said, it's probably one of the bigger crowds we've seen here at the Cemetery Circuit in the last 10 years. And I guess a lot of that has to do with the fact that later on tonight, of course, will be the Jimmy Barnes concert.
Yeah, great legend.
Yes, Seller in the front, number 2, and that is Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood from Gisborne in second place, the Dave Gooch panel beaters rig. And right in behind them, number 53, a bit of a surprise, Steve Bron and Dion Weed, the locals on the Yamaha here from Wanganui.
Sure is. I'm just impressed too with these boys from Gisborne. They're always at the sharp end and they never give in. They're just so focused.
Well, you know, if you saw our coverage in Pukekohe, I was talking to Stacey Seller and he said he wasn't looking forward to coming to the street circuits because this machine on your screen, the LCR Suzuki, is a World Championship caliber winning machine. It's designed to be steered round the turns rather than forced round and thrown in backwards and sideways like you'll see here at Wanganui today. So maybe, if there is a disadvantage for the Australian pair at the front, it's that.
I'm sure too, Phil, it probably won't have the suspension travel that some of our local chairs have got. You know, it's used to European smooth flowing circuits, not a bumpy road circuit around Wanganui.
Look at the distance that the front two have put on number 53, Steve Bron and Dion Weed already. And right in behind them, it's another one of the Australian combinations.
Certainly is a crowd favourite, though, Phil. You know, people just go crazy when the sidecars come out. They love them.
Well, I said an Australian combination. It's an Australian-Kiwi collaboration because it's Ron Curran, hence the RC, but it's David Stent, the Wanganui boy, that's swinging for him. And this is a battle for third and fourth, and it's an absolute beauty.
Well, there's a big clunk of hay hanging off the side of that mudguard too. See it? It's clipped the bales on the 53 machine.
Well, the Wanganui favourites out on the front, number 53, Steve Bron and Dion Weed. In this battle anyway, that's the battle for third and fourth. Out on the front, it is S, Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod from Australia. We concentrate on this battle as they work their way up and over the railway line and down past Suzuki once again. This is the battle at the front, Seller and McLeod on the Sanyong rig.
A lot of tactics in sidecar racing too. Like on two wheels, you can be a bit opportunistic. Or somebody's gone, hey, AWOL. You can be a little bit opportunistic on a two-wheel bike because gaps happen quickly. But on a chair, you know, you've got to plan your passing manoeuvres. You can't just barge through.
Across the stripe they come once again. It is the Australian combination of Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod. But Paul, you've got to say they're not having it all their own way. At Pukekohe they ran away and hid from the closest challenger in the New Zealand camp, but this time it's Gus and Phil Law. They're right on them.
Yeah, well, New Zealanders love road circuits.
Oh, problems there for the Ross Curran combination, and David Stent into the hay bales, and I think the front end just tracked the bales and then sucked the whole machine in. That was a nasty, nasty accident.
Yeah, well, I hope they're okay. That looked pretty vicious.
Meantime, the racing continues out the front. It is Stacey Seller from Australia. The Australian team here with the help of McCulloch Transport and Aircom Systems and, of course, Sanyong. But they are getting absolutely monstered by the Gisborne pairing of Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood. And it is so, so close, so different to what we saw on the tracks at Manfield and Pukekohe.
The marshals will be assessing that situation because an upside-down side chair takes up a lot of the track.
Well, it's dead right, and there we are. The red flags come out, and the race has been declared. It was scheduled to go over 8. It is declared at the 5-lap mark, so that means the win will go to Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod. In second place, it will be Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood, and in third place, number 53, the locals, Steve Bron and Dion Weed. Fourth place will be number 27, Dave Annan and Phil Duthie. Race number 2 of the Formula Wanganui, brought to you by Sales Motor Group. Now you saw Craig Sheriffs takes the first win. Flag ready to drop for this big field of Formula 1 machines, a lot of them production superbikes, and of course Craig Sheriffs on the 600cc machine. Once again we see a fantastic start for bike number 69, and that is Jared Love. Andrew Stroud in there again, and so too is number S. I've been impressed with Chris Seaton on the Bernard Racing Sanyong Suzuki.
Jared Love's been fantastic on the starts today. He really has got the jump and shown them a clean pair of heels.
Through the S's for the first time, and it is the Blue Wing Honda supported Jared Love out of Hamilton, ex-motocrosser, son of a famous father in Laurie, that leads them through. Here comes the challenge though from Andrew Stroud.
Stroudy's been running pretty high and wide up there. I think he's leaving himself open for opportunity to get past up the inside.
Well, that opportunity could come for Jason McEwen because it's him through in third place. Then it's 56 Craig Sheriffs.
Where is the little 600? There it is.
Well, he's right there in fourth place, and behind him is Chris Seaton, the 26-year-old Australian. But at the end of one lap, it is number 69 out in the front. And for the first time that we've seen today, a little bit of breathing space maybe between 69 and 1.
Well, the track conditions now are perfect. The temperature's got up a little bit warmer. The track's sticky. Oh, it's going to be great. I think we could see a lap record fall here again.
Expert comments coming from Paul Pavlet. It's a man that has been there and done that. Of course, we talk again because Craig Sheriff has already lowered the existing track record, which was his from last year.
Yeah, he really does own it, doesn't he?
He really does. Craig Sheriff's currently sitting in fourth place as we watch this battle for first and second. Stroud just probing there with Love. Goes one side, then the other, just looking for any opening.
I think, too, what's brought this right to the forefront is this trans-Tasman rivalry. New Zealanders love fighting Aussies, and no matter what sport it is.
Well, it's an Australian in fourth place, but it's the man from Hamilton leading Jared Love now because Andrew Stroud, you saw the pass as they went down the front straight. So Stroud on the brother Suzuki into the lead.
I took a glance there of Andrew Stroud's eyeballs. All you can see is these big saucers. He's really concentrating.
Number 1, 69, 56 and S the order as they work their way up towards the Robert Holden Memorial turn.
That's a scary corner too, Phil. You come flying up there and all you see is a wall of hay bales. It's a blind. You've got to have a blind leap of faith and just fire it into the left-hander and go through there as hard as you can.
Well, did you see the advantage that Craig Sheriff took as they went through Robert Holden, and that paid off in the Kawasaki corner, the next one through, because he slipped up the inside of Jared Love and now moved into second. Over the Vespa Bridge they come. 169 is third now, so 56 Craig Sheriff fighting back the assault from Jared Love, and he holds them out as they go through Repco now down into Bridgestone. It is Sheriff's on a bit of a charge here. We saw in race number 1, Craig Sheriff took the win from Andrew Stroud. The positions are reversed at the moment. It's Stroud in the front. Across the railway line he goes, through the S's and heads up the Steve Staler panel beating straight towards Robert Holden once again, past the cemetery. That's where the circuit gets its name, and it's a circuit that's infamous for close, fast racing. That's what we're seeing here. And have we seen the tables turn? Because these guys are racing to the flag now. 6 laps happens very quickly at Wanganui, and Andrew Stroud is in command. 56 Sheriffs in second place. They've got one left-hander to go. It's slightly off camber, but I think Stroud's going to hold on to it. He does, so the points are tied up in Formula Wanganui. Stroud gets the win. He looks behind to see Craig Sheriff through in second place. In third it was Jared Love, and in fourth it was Chris Seaton. Fifth place was Jason McEwen, and in sixth it was David Johnson. Got a win in that last one.
Yeah, it's good. I saw Craig was pretty close to me at the very end there. Once I got past Jared, and I could put my head down and go a bit. But the new Suzuki 600 is on its way out pretty soon, and it's pretty flash, so Craig will be a lot harder to beat next year, I'd say.
Well, time for the second race in the sidecars. This one brought to you by G&M Bikes and Spares. And I can tell you that Ron Curran is fine. Unfortunately, the rig is damaged and won't be taking any further part, but Ron Curran, the Australian pilot, is fine. Into the front, it is number S, Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod once again, but we've got a different man in second place. It's the Prentice brothers, Stuart and Darren.
Phil Law and Ravenwood's in a good position as well.
Yeah, watch for number 2 because they chased the Australians home in the first heat. Remember, this is the Trans-Tasman Challenge, if you like, brought to you by SsangYong, as are all the Australian sidecars, along with McCulloch Transport and Aircom Systems. It is Stacey Seller and McLeod out in the front. Already a change for second. 53's got up Steve Braun and Dion Weed, the locals on the Yamaha-powered rig.
Yeah, they're going to be getting the loudest cheer of all next to the good old boys in the classic sidecar race.
Well, that's right. Perhaps we should mention people that are looking forward to seeing the boys in the Triumph get it sideways all the way around Wanganui. There are 2 sections of sidecars today. There is the Premier class, if you like, and there's the Post-Classics. This is the Premier class. It's the Trans-Tasman Challenge. S, 53 and 2, the order. So Phil Law and Gus Ravenswood starting to come into contention as well.
Quite a combination of units too. We've got a Yamaha 1000, a Honda 1100 and a Suzuki 1000, so all sorts of combinations out there.
And one thing we should mention, Paul, is the fact that the rig on your screen there, number S and the SsangYong colours, that is absolutely state-of-the-art.
Did you see that, Phil? Right around the outside.
Wow.
Fearless.
They say there's close racing in sidecars, and Steve Braun knows that firsthand now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of Well, a little bit of payback if it's available.
Yeah, might be getting a few finger directions shortly.
Who knows?
How to find the pub.
These guys are aggressive, there's no doubt about that. But with all that coming together, it means that it is the New Zealand #2 pairing of Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood that's gone through into second place.
The boys from Gisborne, go!
And quite a heritage for Gisborne in sidecar racing.
Very popular locals down there.
Dave Gooch, a big supporter of motorsport and sidecars in particular, and they are Phil Law and Gus Ravenswood, main sponsor, #2. Now, what I was saying before, yes, it's a state-of-the-art rig. Some of these rigs behind them are 10 and 15 years of age. They just make subtle adjustments season to season, but the one that is leading, Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod, an LCR, capable of winning the World Championship.
You know, I think half the fun with these sidecars is the engineering that goes on the weekend with the mechanics and the team and just fettling and trying to improve them.
I'm sure you're right, because a lot of them are backyard operations. Some of them a lot more professional. And how's that? How cool do you want to be? Steve Braun and Dion Weed waving to our cameraman.
He'll be stopping for autographs shortly.
Oh, and there's been a problem there, #2. Well, he was in second place. This is Phil Law and Gus Ravenswood. I think they've spun, and that's allowed Dave Annan and Phil Duthie to come into contention as well. And Dave Annan, well, there's a story in that in itself. He's suffering from Campylobacter, and if you've ever had that ailment, it's not very nice when you're trying to do anything physical.
I'm sure he's got the bottom of his leathers duct taped up close.
Absolutely. We might not carry that conversation on much longer. Yes, Seller and
there you go, Phil. There goes the fingers pointing which way to the pub.
Well, we said there's been retribution, and there it is for all to see. 53, the local lads on the Yamaha from Wanganui. That is Steve Braun and Dion Weed. They're currently in second place. It's #2, and that is Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood trying to argue that position at the moment. They've come back from a spin, so they're doing a fantastic job. And behind them, I think it'll be 27, Dave Annan and Phil Duthie. Out on the front, though, make no mistake, it's still the Australians, Stacey Seller and Kerry McLeod. This, though, the battle on your screen. Race winner comes through to take the checkered flag. Seller and McLeod make it 2 for 2 in the sidecars. In second place, it will be Braun and Dion Weed on the Yamaha from Wanganui. And in third place, it'll be Phil Law and Angus Ravenswood. Second and final heat now of the Robert Holden Memorial. And we have got the top 30 qualifiers by time lined up on the start line. You'll see the tyre warmers coming off the machines as they get set to go over 15 laps. It's virtually a marathon here at Wanganui. The circuit 1 mile around, 1.6 kilometres. Once again, we'll take the inboard action from Jared Love's Blue Wing Honda. And once again, it's another great start from Jason McEwen from Sanson, and trying to come round the outside of him is number 56, and that is Craig Sheriff. So Sheriff's already up into second spot. It looks like it is Jared Love through in third.
Well, that's the worst start Jared Love's got all day, so he's going to be focused now to try and make amends.
You know, we said before that we thought he might have had brake problems. They've changed the whole braking system on the bike between races, so he's out for blood this time round. At the moment, though, it is 56. Sheriff's in the front. He has owned the cemetery circuit here at Wanganui.
He's a demon. Jared Love's a demon on the street circuit, and I know he wants to make amends. By his standards, he's had a fairly average season to date, so let's see what he can do.
56, getting very close to the hay bales as he works his way down towards the big crowd, or the majority of the big crowd here at Wanganui, and that is over the bridge and down the front straight. Jay McEwen in second place, Stroud in third, then at 69, Jared Love, and then it is the ever-persistent Australian on the Bernard Racing SsangYong Suzuki 600, and that is Chris Seaton.
Oh, Sheriff must be just flush with confidence at the moment. He's just set the lap record on fire 2 or 3 times today. He really is on a roll.
That's right, he's dropped under the 50-second mark. 49.927 seconds is the new lap record. I wonder if we'll see it go again here. Craig Sheriff's in the front. Everyone's got things to do behind him. Andrew Stroud would love to reverse the positions here, and, well, if he does that, it'll be the same scenario we saw last year, and that'll be a tie going into the second round.
I think he might be changing the trend of bikes to be ridden around here, because for the last couple of years, 600s have been dominant, and you know, you really want to win this. This is a televised event. There's 20-odd thousand people here. You know, people might start riding 600s instead of thousands, Phil.
Well, 56, it's working for him. Craig Sheriff, Jason McEwen just goes up the inside of Andrew Stroud there, so he moves back into second on the Motor Dynamic Suzuki. We're on board here with the Blue Wing Honda. This is Jared Love. And just up ahead of him, I think it's Guy Martin, the import for the Rico Suzuki team that Sean Harris manages, to come out here and do something special. He's a special rider in England, finishing 4th in the TT this year. And soon to be a Yamaha factory rider on the streets in England next year, but really he hasn't shone at Wanganui, Paul.
Well, he's got his hands full with these local boys. You know, these are specialist road racers in New Zealand, and they're very fast on a world stage. I don't know about you, Phil, but my heart pounds when I see that bike cam.
Well, it pounds then when Jason McEwen nearly took out the front end of Andrew Stroud.
Oh, Jason McEwen, he doesn't take any prisoners.
Well, no, that's right. He's had many wins here on many different bikes, and it's great to see him back to what will be, I'm sure, very shortly his very best. Once again, 18 months ago, suffered that huge accident, and now he is back mixing it with the fastest man on two wheels here, and that is Craig Sheriffs. And don't discount number one, the brother Suzuki of Andrew Stroud. I'm sure he'd love to cap his day with a win and force a draw as they go to Pyra in the Battle of the Streets, the second and final round. This is what happened last year with Craig Sheriffs, but then he was drawn with Jared Love. Jared Love, well, he's unaccustomedly back in 4th or 5th place. So as you said, Paul, he hasn't had a happy time of it here.
Yeah, well, looking too at Jason McEwen, Sean Harris's faith's been rewarded because, you know, Jason McEwen nearly killed himself 18-odd months ago, and this has got to be doing his confidence so much good.
Well, you saw him just make a little mistake there, and it was all it would take for Andrew Stroud to get back in front. There he is, bike number one. He is the current 600 Sports Production Champion of New Zealand. We've since heard that he's lost on appeal the Superbike title, so that's gone to Tony Rees. He is now retired. Andrew Stroud, still one of the best racers in this country. Make no mistake about that.
Did you see that? The 1,000 shot pass down the straight. Sheriffs under brakes, takes it back.
What about the move from Craig Sheriffs? Remember I said that the 30 top qualifiers were here in the Robert Holden Memorial? That's why you've got the likes of some of the Super Motard bikes, and they'll be the first bikes that this man encounters as he comes up to lap them.
The difference here is on the 600s, you're actually powering through these corners. On the 1,000cc bikes, you're feathering the throttle because, you know, that can break traction any second.
Paul Brown just getting out of the way. Now it is Stephen Briggs's turn to move aside as the fast boys come through. And this can change the complexion of the race. We see it so many times. Certainly on the streets. It's pretty narrow. It's pretty tight. But it's Craig Sheriff still in the front. Stroud in second. Then we go back to Jay. That is McEwen. And then it is Chris Seaton.
Oh, pushed him out of the way. Aggressive move by Stroud. He really wants this win.
Well, that sort of testifies to the fact that he doesn't want to come here for second place once again. Now, what can Sheriffs do about it? That's the next thing.
I think he's going to have a crack at him at the Rose Gardens. He's going to carry some additional speed through the S's and have a crack coming out of the S's. That's where he's strong.
Andrew Stroud in the front, a devoted family man. In fact, his wife about to present him with twins in the summer season.
Here we
Hasn't
go.
been to Wanganui for 4 years. Here comes the attack, is it, from Craig Sheriffs? Now, this is the corner. He passed McEwen before, and he does so again. And once again, Paul, he made it look easy.
Well, he's getting the power on earlier. Andrew Stroud, as good as he is, he's got a handful. He's got 190 horsepower, and he's thinking, do I want to get flicked over the fence into the hay bales? No.
His survival is on the minds here of all these riders. 56, though. I think on his mind is the fact that he wants to be the dominant force here at Wanganui. He's done that. From all the races he started, he's won all of them but one, or maybe two. Maybe he's not going to win this. Maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, you have to say he's braking well too, and that's a key component to Wanganui Street Circuit. You've got to have strong brakes and use them hard.
So Craig Sheriffs in the front. Second place, number one, Andrew Stroud. Third place, Jason McEwen. Suzuki's 1, 2, 3 and 4 because it's Chris Seaton back in 4th place.
Well, this is the home of Suzuki, Wanganui, and they're going to have huge smiles on their dials.
Peter Tanner just gets out of the way on the Aprilia as the fast boys start to get into the lap traffic. Sheriffs, Stroud, McEwen. Craig Sheriffs, of course, coming from a family dynasty of motorcyclists in New Zealand. His father, Morley, still a champion in his own right. He's the man to beat, they tell me, in grass tracks. Of course, the ex-motocrosser back in the 70s and the days of Laurie Love and Peter Plowen and people like that. And yes, Laurie Love is Jared's father.
Well, Phil, you'd have to say, too, that Yamaha are really missing Tony Rees because, you know, he's a street circuit specialist as well, and, you know, he's really missed.
Well, that's right. I think you hit it on the head before, Paul, when you said that Suzuki owns Wanganui. They certainly do for the moment. Stroudy in the front now.
Tony will be watching the TV going, yeah, I can mix it with these guys. He'll probably be wanting if he should be coming back.
Past Superbike champion of New Zealand out in the front. That is Andrew Stroud, the man that has been the Battle of the Streets champion, the 600 Sports Production champion. Craig Sheriff sits in second place. Then it's the comeback kid, Jason McEwen. We've seen it so often. While these two are dicing in the front, McEwen's getting a little bit closer, and he's dragging the Australian with him. So soon it'll be a four-way battle.
Well, what's he doing? He's been lapped. That's one of our Aussie friends.
For Charlton. certainly up with the front runners. Just showboating for the crowd, so obviously a problem there for the Bernard Racing team member. Meantime, while we've been watching Scott Charlton, Craig Sheriffs has got in the front again. There's no stopping the man from fielding.
He's on a mission.
I was talking to his mother before this race, and she said that the calming influence for Craig this season, or the last couple of seasons, has been his mechanic, Chris Osborne. Osborne's been doing the World Supersport Championship for the last 2 years, and he's brought all his experience to bear on this young man. And it's paying dividends in spades, because he wins the second heat of the Robert Holden Memorial. In second place, it will be Andrew Stroud, and in third place, Jason McEwen. Fourth place was the best of the Australians today, and that was Chris Seaton. And in fifth, it was Jared Love. This time last year, it looked like you were going to go to Pyro with Jared in a draw. 3 laps before the end of that race, it looked like it might have been the same. Andrew was in front.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking that. Like, I led a lot of the race, actually, which surprised me. Like, to get a start like that on the 600 with the 1,000 is not very normal, but it was good. So Stroudy passed me, and I was like, man, he's going to run away and hide. But I tried to get back past him as soon as I could, just to try and mess him up, basically, and you know, just stop his momentum. And I managed to get past him pretty quickly, and then he came past again, and it was just like neither of us were giving up. So it was an awesome race, probably one of the hardest races I've ever had anywhere, I think. So it was good to come out on top.
Coming up, it's all on the line for